Coming to you from an undisclosed location somewhere deep in the heart of the Santa Monica Mountains, I'm your intrepid host, L.A. Marzulli. Today is July 16th. This is Politics, Prophecy, and the Supernatural Report. Unbelievable. Maricopa County audit reveals 2020 election disaster. We'll get into that and so much more after a word from our sponsor. Apple recently released a long-awaited privacy feature allowing users to opt out of tracking for each app. Doing so will prevent user data from being used for ultra-targeted ads across the web. While this is a step in the right direction, this new feature won't completely protect you online. To do that, you need a VPN. This is why I highly recommend Virtual Shield. Right now, Virtual Shield is offering a 50% off for life to my subscribers this month. It's the easiest and quickest way to make yourself anonymous online, and all it takes is a push of a button. Try Virtual Shield risk-free for 30 days with another 30-day money-back guarantee by visiting www.virtualshield.com/LA. That's www.virtualshield.com/LA and get 50% off for life by signing up this month. Folks, protect yourself online by going to virtualshield.com/LA. So it just amazes me how we get statements like this. Maricopa County audit reveals 2020 election disaster. Absentee ballot records missing. 11,000 votes not on November rolls. So what's the truth? I mean, is this the truth? Is this really happen? Did this really happen? Is this what the audit reveals? And this apparently is only the tip of the iceberg. Look at this one. Cyber Ninja's CEO exposes bleed-through on ballots. Right there, you can see the bleed-through. Right there, all the circles. And what this does, this skews the vote. So we've got all this going on in Maricopa. There seems to be, and again, if you say this, you can be in trouble, but I maintain that here at Politics, Prophecy, and Supernatural, all we care about is the truth. If the truth was, if they did the audit and they didn't find any of these discrepancies, then fine, let's all go home, right? We'll win the House back in 2022. But if there are discrepancies, the American people have a right to know. So with all this going on in Arizona, we get a story like this. By the way, it's on the Gateway Pundit. Breitbart's carried a little bit of it. The Palmieri report has certainly been talking about it. But look at this. Arizona State Senator demands Biden electors be recalled to Arizona in new election held following Thursday's stunning audit. Now I'm going to see if I can read this because the print's really small here. The audit team announced that there were 74,000 ballots that were received and included in the 2020 election in Maricopa County that were mailed out. Logan reported this along with other issues already identified in their work. They found 74,243 mail-in ballots with no clear record of them ever being sent. The audit team also announced that ballots were counted that were not on the proper paper stock and were not in proper printing alignment. Other ballots were marked with Sharpie pens that bled through the paper. So there seems to be a lot of hanky-panky. You know, Biden only won Arizona by, I think, 11,000 votes. Here's 74,000 votes that's going on. This is huge. I mean, it's unbelievable because what we're looking at, here's the evidence that and these guys spent a lot of time on this. So, of course, immediately the other side of the aisle, the Democrats were saying, it's the big lie, it's the big lie. Well, okay, so defend your position. How do you take this type of stuff with the ballots and the Sharpies marking through and 11,000 votes not on the November rolls, and that's what Biden basically won by? Hello? How do you reconcile that? If it's such a lie, why don't you defend your position instead of just calling us racist and homophobes and telling us we're spreading the big lie and censoring us on all platforms? If this happened, and folks, it certainly appears that there's some hanky-panky going on in Maricopa County. If this happens, the American people, first of all, have a right to know. Second of all, the news media, shame on them, should be reporting it. Wait till you see the next couple of clips. blow your mind. Blew my mind. This is huge. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. We'll see where it goes. So this is CNN. This is the front page. LA County will reinstate mask mandate. I'll get into that in just a little bit. Need to refinance mortgage rates dropping again. Donald Trump doesn't believe in coups, but if he did, so that's basically it. Everything is getting more expensive. Is it time to worry? Analysis, the child tax credit is the biggest government benefit since Social Security. COVID-19 schools. Here's Fox News, a Natalie Holloway investigation. Dirty laundry. Texas Democrat shots with photo of drying clothes as lawmakers fleeing vote claim to be martyrs. Oh my gosh, what a story. Oh, never mind South Africa. Never mind Cuba. Never mind the fraud, alleged fraud found in Maricopa County. This is big news. Dirty laundry on Fox News. Oh my God, she had to dry her clothes because she couldn't. Oh, it's just horrible. Then of course you get I Was on the Island, back to Epstein Island. Of course, Britney Spears, look over here. Distraction. No, over here now, over here. Look over here. All distraction. And then of course we have this. Footage shows NFL star trying to force his way into the in-laws' house. Oh, he's just a nasty guy. This is where we're at. Natalie Holloway, dirty laundry. You know, what country is this? Epstein Island, Britney Spears. Anything about this? Anything about this? Anything about this? Not a stinking word. Shame on both of these. And notice, CNN and Fox. So this is what has to happen. Some of these people who are engaged in deliberate obfuscation, they need to be fired. Of course, that probably won't happen because they're all in, and it seems like they're all in lockstep together, doesn't it? You would think stories like this would be reported. Well, they're not being reported, at least not yet. Moving right along, just in Los Angeles County reimposes indoor mask mandate regardless of vaccination status. Where's the science? Just show me the science. Show me where there's a scientific study about the efficacy of the masks and what kind of masks are they. So everybody goes out and they get all these different masks. Some people have paper, some have cloth. Does it work? Or actually is the interior of the mask, all that carbon monoxide and all the other stuff in it, is it actually making matters worse? So where's the science behind any of this? U.S. drug overdose deaths soared to a record 93,000 in 2020 during COVID lockdowns. So that's amazing. Absolutely amazing. 93,000 people. A lot of them were suicides, drug overdoses. Folks, it's not working. It's not working. And, we were told if you get the vaccine by Dr. Fiasco, if everybody just gets the vaccine, it'll all be good. We can probably gonna have to wear a mask even when you're buried in the ground because COVID can go through the coffin. Oh my God, the worms will get it. I say it every day. What's the truth? Show us, not me, show us the science behind the mask. So LA County, who decides this? Is it a bunch of guys in a room? Oh, we got to get the masks down again because we need to do this. Meanwhile, 93,000 people die of drug overdoses during the COVID lockdowns. We don't know where to run. South Africans brace for a new wave of devastating riots after ex-President Zuma jailed. Look at the carnage. Look what's going on. Look at the looting. How does this make life for the African people better? It doesn't. All it does is create absolute chaos. And if they get in the genocide, which happened in Rwanda, some of it spilled over into Zimbabwe, but what do you wind up with? What do you wind up with? So if you kick all the white people out, which is reverse racism, isn't it funny how that works? Now what? And what we see here, look at these clowns on top of the trailers trying to rip open the roof. Get at that merchandise inside. So you can see it's utter chaos in South Africa. And most of the media doesn't report on it. Okay, I'm a Trail of a Nephilim. I've got something interesting for you today. You can rent all 7 of these by going to streaming.lamarzulli.net, streaming.lamarzulli.net, and binge watch them. If you want the hard copy, costs a little bit more, go to the site, lamarzulli.net. Here's the deal. This is the Octagon Mound. in Newark, Ohio. I've been there 3 different times. It's a private golf course. You can see the sand traps in here, and if you look carefully, you can see the different fairways and the way the course is laid out. So people go, oh my gosh, they took this wonderful site and made it a golf course. Well, not so fast. What they did do is they realized about 100 years ago, or over 100 years ago, that, well, here are these mounds. How do we preserve them? So some guy came up, well, why don't we make a golf course out of it? And so they did. But they preserved the mound. They preserved the octagon mound, and it's pristine. And so when you go here, you'll notice right here this gateway. That's like you actually tee off back here. I played golf there. You tee off back here, and I think it's a par 3. So there's the tee, and there's the green. And this gateway is so precise, absolutely precise. So you've got an octagon and this great circle. You'll notice that 2 of the sides on the octagon are unequal right up in here. They're not the one over here and then that one right there. They're longer. And when in our film, Mathematical Mysteries of the Mound Builders, which is where we get into all this, we have a mathematician, a professor of mathematics, and she states on the record that this is advanced geometry. You just don't pull this out of a hat. If I ask you to draw an octagon on a piece of paper, I gave you a pencil, could you do it? Well, you'd have a rough octagon, that's what you'd have. But in order to do a proper octagon, 8 equal sides, you need a ruler, a compass, and a protractor. You need to know the angles of each of these angles. You need to know exactly what that is. So Dottie says on the record in the film, she's the professor of mathematics. If a student came to her and she asked, well, how did you come up with this? And the student said, well, I just kind of sketched it out and drew it, and I just felt like this. Dottie said this would be a significant reason for cheating. She would look at that student. If you don't know how you got that, it's advanced. The point I'm trying to make is this. This is advanced mathematics. It's geometry. Okay? So if Native Americans, First Nation people, with all due respect to them, knew geometry, don't you think they would have passed that in their oral tradition? Because Native Americans, and this is why I believe in their oral tradition, they train children to, keep the tribe's history. We talked to Chief Joseph about this in our films, actually all 3 films on the mounds, which we focus on the mounds. Mysterious Mound Builders, Mathematical Mysteries of the Mound Builders, and of course, Secrets of the Supernatural Voices from the Other Side. As Russ Dizdar, I'm down a rabbit hole here. Russ Dizdar says, if these are real Nephilim sites, then we should see stuff happen, paranormal activity, which is exactly what happened, and it's on film. And I've already talked about that. Maybe I'll bring that back again, where the obelisk and it said witch and then evil, and I prayed and broke the thing anyway. But I digress. So here's the deal. Circling back, this is an octagon, and you can see how big it is. All right. You look at the cars. Look at the buildings here. Down in here is a car. This thing encompasses, the octagon encompasses about 50 acres. 50 acres. When you stand in it, you don't know what you're looking at. You really don't know. It's only when you're in the air, who is the prince of the power of the air, that this thing comes into vogue. It comes into focus. And you just sit there and you go, oh my gosh, why do this? Who made this thing? Now watch this. Astronomical significance of the earthworks. You will look at, when you start looking at these points, it all deals with the moon. Because going back here, there's actually a mound. Let me see if I can find it here. Give me a second. Where is the road? I believe it's in the circle, which is right here. I think it's at the bottom. There's a place right in here. Yeah, there it is. So when you look at the maximum northern moonrise, this is very complex. All these different astronomical alignments. The site is also built on an 18.5-year lunar cycle. So I'll get into this in just a second. Let's say you and I go back in time 4,000 years ago. We land here in the middle of the octagon mound, and we start looking at observing the moon. Well, we realize that the moon is waxing and waning every night. It comes up in one spot and sets in another. So we put some sticks in the ground and we try to track the moon. We have no idea of the metonic cycle, the lunar cycle, the 18.5-year lunar cycle. We don't know it's 18.5 years. So we put the stakes up, we make some notches in it. We do this for 20 days. We see that it's rising and then over here it's setting and it seems to be moving around. So we do this for 20 days. Then a storm comes in. We can't see the moon for 5 days. Now what? We got to start all over again. The point I'm trying to make is if you jumped in, you wouldn't know whether you're in year 3, year 8, year 14, year 1. You wouldn't know. You have no idea where you were. How would you crunch the data 4,000 years ago? We are looking, in my opinion, at the fingerprints of the supernatural. That's what this is. These are the fingerprints of the supernatural. This is, in my opinion, Nephilim architecture, fallen angel technology. Native Americans did not travel in this. So if they didn't do it, then who did? Who made this? And how the heck do you make an unequal octagon? So not only is it, you got geometry going here, but 2 of the sides are unequal. How would you do that? How would you encompass 51 acres? How would you check your work? See where I'm going with this? All this and so much more, that is Mathematical Mysteries of the Mound Builders right here. Number 2, you'll find it mind-blowing when you watch it. Folks, there is a hidden history that has been deliberately obfuscated from the people of the world. We'll get into that, but first, L.A. Marzulli, here's how your channel did last month. We want to thank you for coming here. 373,000 views. Unbelievable. Anyway, folks, we have Al Matthews coming on the record after the break. We'll get into that. Folks, thanks so much for watching Politics, Prophecy, and the Supernatural. Remember, if you come here and you don't find us, go to our Rumble channel, L.A. Marzulli. We're also be up on Roku. It's on them. They're trying to get our channel back up. So once it's back up, we'll make a big deal about that, and you can find out how to contact us on our Roku channel. Meantime, go to our website, lamarzulli.net, and download the free app, Never Miss Another Show. We'll see you on the other side of the break with our very special guest, Al Matthews.
Matthews, I've seen a UFO.
I've seen a UFO.
And I saw a UFO.
I saw a UFO.
A UFO.
Our film disclosure is around 95,000. Let's get it up over 100,000 people. We ask you to pass it forward. In that film, I sit down with a gentleman by the name of Al Matthews. Al and I have become good friends. He was a lifelong abductee. He gave his life to Jesus. Everything changed because there is someone greater. Okay, greater is he that is in us than he that is in the world. Who is in us? Those of us who are born again and spirit-filled. That's the Holy Ghost. That's the Holy Spirit. The Spirit of a living God, which changes us. It's just amazing how he does that. And I believe he changes us on the cellular level, specifically our DNA. So there's our little friend in the gun sight. Once again, the Pentagon mentions off-world vehicles not made on this earth. So if they're not made on this earth, where are they being made? More importantly, who's making them? Anyway, folks, here's my sit down with Al Matthews. He's got some amazing shots of some craft up in his neck of the woods, Vancouver. And here's the clip. Folks, thanks for staying here with Politics, Prophecy, and the Supernatural Report. If you have not seen the film Disclosure, Al Matthews, right on the screen here, became a centerpiece of that film. I had no idea what Gordy Chong, the producer up in Vancouver, and he's off camera, but he's there listening every word. I had no idea what Gordy, I had some idea, I guess I should say, But when Al began his story, everything changed, and Al's story became the centerpiece of our film, Disclosure. If you haven't seen it, please, it's free. Download it, pass it forward. Al Matthews, thank you so much for joining us here once again. What have you got for us?
Good to see you again.
Absolutely.
Hey, it's LA once again. It's Endless. From our last visit on your PBS report, we talked about, I was with 7 other people, 8 of us all together, up by Mission, which is in BC, near a place called Stave Lake. A bunch of us saw that massive cigar-shaped UFO. It was right in our face, hovering over the tree line. I figure it's probably maybe about 4,000 or 5,000 feet up. Just ginormous. Couldn't see the end of it. Okay, fast forward. A month later, in June, around, I think it was June 10th or 11th, same place, my friend calls me Donnie. Same gentleman, Donnie. He's with his girlfriend. They're coming home. She looks up, they get out of the vehicle, and she goes, "What the heck is that?" So,
wow.
This is the first shot of it.
Oh my! Where is it in the screen? I'm not sure what I'm looking at.
It's above the tree line, or is that there? It is.
Oh, there it is. I got it. Right. Okay. Wow.
Okay, that's the first. That's nothing. So they both get. That's one shot of it, and then they get their camera out, and then this is what they film. I've got several shots of this. It's nuts. Okay,
wow.
See. Okay.
Al, let me ask you something. How close was it to where they were? Did they say?
They say it was about, because a plane flew by after, it's probably about 8,000 feet in the air. But there were 3 different ships. Look at that.
Wow.
An airplane, a 727, is roughly 135 feet across. This was double that. Now, the last shot they took, this one really got me. This is an actual video they took of the last one they saw 20 minutes after the first one. Watch this.
That is not good there, dude. That is not a fucking plane.
Yeah, the second one has come.
Hold on.
Wow.
Oh, circles.
Wow.
Oh, that's what I got back here.
Hold on, like taking a video of this right now. It's kind of like a big deal.
Wow.
Look at that thing.
Wow. So that's definitely close encounters of the first kind all day long.
Yeah.
You know, it's still a distance away. We really can't make out the shape of the object per se, but it's lighting up the sky. I think it's one of theirs, not military at all.
Looking at it more and more, and what they described to me, it was a perfect round cylinder. It had the girth of about 3 times the size of a normal airplane. It was, once again, twice the length of a normal airplane and just glowing. Now, that thing could have been 8,000 to 12,000 feet in the air. I wasn't there, but we've seen planes coming from the east, coming west to the airport in Vancouver. And this thing was at least 2 to 3 times the size of an airplane. Once again, no sound at all, and just glowing. And it had flat ends to it. It looked like a tube, a cylinder.
Yeah, I mean, airplanes don't glow like that. I mean, it's one thing to catch a little bit of a sunlight. It's another thing to be radiating, and it certainly is. It's just unbelievable. What are your thoughts, Al? Where do you think all this is headed?
Well, they're certainly revealing themselves all around the world, around naval fleets. The Americans came out and said they had hundreds of orbs around their Nimitz carrier task force. And they don't engage with these things. They don't have F-18s coming up, clearing them out of the airspace. They have full control of the skies. They are seeing these things everywhere. There's a place called Chilliwack, which is east of Vancouver. A lot of native folks up there. I've chatted with a couple. They see them up on the mountain ranges dancing around in the sky. And they're like a lime green color, just dancing all over the place. They tell me their area is totally haunted. People get sick when they go fishing. They feel like they're being watched. They stay out of certain areas. This stuff is all over the place. Now, another show I just recently watched that came out, it's called the BC Triangle. We've heard of the Alaska Triangle, Devil's Triangle. This area is 4 different native groups where hundreds of people are going missing, and most of them are native folks. And just to let you know, after that first encounter with a mile-long ship that we talked about over a month ago, Donnie's girlfriend, who has, 10% native in her bloodline, after that encounter with that mile-long ship, she had a haunting. She was pinned down in bed, couldn't breathe. Donnie woke up, looked over at her, and thought she was having a nightmare. And she came out of it and said something was on top of her, choking her.
Yeah, that is.
I mean, this is not a coincidence.
No, it's not. We've got a woman. Her name is Vicky Joy, and she's writing a book. It's actually finished. It's on sleep paralysis, and we'll be talking more about that in the coming months because this is so common, and this is what your friend definitely experienced. It is sleep paralysis, and it's not some nightmare thing. There are entities which are attacking, and that's what they do. But we'll be getting more into that when Vicky Joy Anderson's book is actually published and out.
Right.
But yeah, Al, that's. I'll give you the last word. Bring us home.
Well, this stuff is ramping up off the charts. I keep saying that. I'm repeating myself, but it's just getting more and more controlled. Look at our country now. I'm talking Canada. It's almost like Nazi fascism. They're burning down churches left, right, and center. The only people the police are arresting are the ones that are protesting the burning down of the churches. I mean, this country, from a beautiful country, is an absolute mess. A mess. It's disgusting.
Well, welcome to the New World Order. Thank you, Al Matthews.
Yeah.
Thank you, Al, for coming on the record. Really appreciate it. Gordy, thanks for all you do in keeping everyone hooked up and sending me lots of stories. Thank you so much. Remember, folks, please check out our disclosure film. It's free. Go to streaming.lamarzulli.net or lamarzulli.net. Listen to Al Matthews, and also Gordy's in the film, too. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate you coming on. Thanks so much for coming on the record once again, Al. Really appreciate it. Al became the centerpiece of our film, Disclosure, and all we ask is that you would pass it forward. Folks, this changes everything. This is the coming great deception. The revealing of a so-called extraterrestrial presence is the coming great deception. It is being run by the Luciferians. Make no mistake about it. This is the dark side. It will change everything. This is why we made the film. I encourage you to watch it, and I would admonish you to please pass it forward. Thanks so much for watching Politics, Prophecy, and a Supernatural Report. Remember, we'll see you on the air or in the air. There is an ancient site in New Hampshire that may date back 4,000 years. It is called America's Stonehenge. There are precise alignments of standing stones, which reflect the solstices and equinoxes. There is also a controversial stone table, which may have been used as an altar for human sacrifice. The site is built on an 18-and-a-half-year lunar cycle, like that of Stonehenge, England, and also the Great Circle Mound and the Octagon Mound complex in Ohio. At America's Stonehenge, massive stones were fitted together to create this mysterious site, but whoever built it seemingly abandoned it. You will see just how incredible this site is as we reveal what appears to be a deliberate and orchestrated relationship to Stonehenge, England, as well as other megalithic sites around the globe. Journey with us as we explore America's Stonehenge.